whole thing is muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
That works. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I don't sing though. So I'll start again. Kips Castle, 22 Crestmont Road, Verona. And it is open, it's free admission, open Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m. It's decorated. It's very, very nice. They did a great job. The Cultural Affairs Division of the Parks Department. Next one is Presbyterian Memorial Iris Garden at 474 Upper Mountain Avenue in Montclair. Again, open from Saturday and Sunday. That one is open from 12 to 3. Again, free admission. And Van Tassel Funeral Home, 357 Belleville Avenue in Bloomfield. And that is open Saturday and Sunday. No, it's open only on Saturday from 12 to 4. That's basically my report. I know there was several accidents on the Bloomfield Avenue. Discussing it with Public Works tomorrow morning at our cabinet meeting. And I know it's a very hot topic within town. Any comments or anything you'd like to bring back to Public Works?
I think Mr. O'Sullivan has been working with Public Works as well on these items. So, I mean, our comment is always that we would like more lights, right? Especially near Verona Park, but some of the accidents that happened had nothing to do with that anyway. But actually, I don't think any of the accidents had anything to do with that location over the weekend. But yeah, having a light there would be great.
Great. That's above my pay grade, but I will discuss it with the engineering department.
Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we have a proclamation for the Verona Women's Club. Share Your Light Night. So, ladies, if you'd like to come forward and talk about the program.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mickey Lawrence and one of the co-chairs of Share Your Light Night. Hopefully you can hear me. It will be on Saturday, December 13th. We plan to have the luminaries out in the Civic Center and lit by 5 p.m. This year we're back using real candles because we don't have a threat of a fire. And we're still selling kits. So anyone who is interested in purchasing one that didn't, you can look on the Women's Club website, womensclubofverona.org, or no, maybe .com, and you'll find it there. This year we had many of our businesses in town sponsor luminaries. Our two co-chairs for Connie and Joanne did a great job, working with the businesses, and the businesses were really nice to sponsor us. So if you didn't know, we use the proceeds from this to do scholarships and donate money to organizations. So we're happy to be able to do it again this year. And I think that's all I had to say. Anybody else have something they want to say? No.
Well, I do. So,
okay, Chris.
No, I just want to thank you for doing this. I always look forward to this night. I challenge every street in Verona to be as active as Sunset Avenue is between Wayland and Brookdale. So I think we have a 100% participation every year. It's really nice. Looks like an airplane runway when you come down.
Yeah. I dropped off 8 kits to someone on Sunset today.
We're very serious over there. But the reality of it is, not only is it just a great visual, but also there's so much fun going out and talking to your neighbors as we're putting these things out. And it really just reminds us that Verona is a very a lovely place to live and very welcoming. And I encourage everybody, not only on your street, but take a walk down to the community center, which is just outstanding. It's breathtaking with all the lights out. So please do that. It's a great family walk on a Saturday to go down. It does
look beautiful.
It looks wonderful. Okay. So let me read the proclamation, and then you can sit, Mickey, and then come up when I'm done reading. And thank you. Sorry, I lost the. You see? All right, I'll just.
Regular one?
Yeah, I somehow lost that. Oh, here it is. Thank you. This is why the deputy mayor's sitting to my right. Proclamation reads, whereas the Women's Club of Verona was formed as a non-political, non-sectarian, and non-commercial service organization to promote fellowship, social intercourse, intellectual growth, and cooperation in working out the vital problems of the day. And whereas the Women's Club of Verona is a member of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs and General Federation of Women's Clubs, which is the oldest and largest women's organization in the world. Whereas founded as the Isabella Literary Society in 1893, the now Verona Women's Club of Verona was instrumental in the founding of the Verona Public Library in the 1890s. And whereas their efforts have focused on our community by awarding scholarships to high school graduates and recognition of the students' involvement in community service. Whereas the Women's Club of Verona has sponsored 2 girls to the Girls Career Institute, a residential program at Douglas College, continually supports the Verona Public Library, the Verona Children's Fund, the Verona Rescue Squad and Fire Department, the Verona Foundation for Educational Excellence, and many other local, national, and state programs. And whereas on Saturday, December 13th, 2025, the Women's Club will hold the 17th anniversary Share Your Light Night, a fundraising event originating in Mexico and is now a worldwide event. And whereas Verona residents purchase luminary kits from the Verona Women's Club to display in their front yards, along curbs and driveways, creating a ribbon of light symbolizing neighborhood unity with luminaries glowing to form a ribbon of light. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Dr. Christopher Tamboro, Mayor of the Township of Verona, do hereby recognize the Verona Women's Club, thank them for their service, and wish them continued success as they celebrate their 131st anniversary this year as a charter member of the General Federation of Women's Clubs. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the Township of Verona, New Jersey, to be affixed this first day of December 2025. And ladies, if you'd like to come forward.
Thank you so much. For supporting us so much. You too. Oh, this is good because I don't have to. Yes.
I'm just gonna take a few, so just keep smiling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's good to see you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
You want to take this home?
Right.
Yes, go down and watch.
Oh,
Okay,
Moving on to the Township Manager's Report, Mr. O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. I will understand we have a long agenda. I will try to hit the highlights of my report and leave the rest of the questions from the council. The primary clarifier pump station project, we have the equipment. It's been tested in startup mode, so we're nearing the completion of that first major reinvestment in the wastewater facility. We have the Fairview Avenue well project is still scheduled to start in the late winter or in the early spring. With our road projects, we have a pre-construction meeting for Linden Avenue on December 4th. Dodd Terrace, Afterglow Way, and Summit Road will be bid in the coming weeks. And Hamilton Road, Crestmont Place, and Crestmont Road were the subject of the most recent DOT grant application. The township was fortunate to receive a grant award in the amount of $392,000. So that will be the next set of roads that are scheduled for design and improvements in the coming year. Everett Field continues to move forward. The utility work and the rough grading continues in the ongoing week. The contractor is looking to establish curbing in the next 2 weeks and bring the site to final grading. There's been a lot of progress. The walls are complete. The majority of the trees have been planted, and a lot of the subsurface utility work is near completion. So that project continues to move forward and is on schedule. The field house element of that project is also moving forward. The structure is up, it's enclosed, and the roof is on, and the building is weatherized. The work is continuing on the interior of the building in the coming weeks. The administration had a meeting with the BPU on November 24th regarding the next steps for completing an energy savings improvement plan, RFP. We'll be drafting that and getting that ready for public advertisement in the coming weeks as well. Additionally, the community energy plan is moving forward. DMR is assisting with that project. That will be likely presented to the council in either January or February. We'll have discussion in executive session on the affordable housing updates. And then as far as the building facility needs, the shingled roofs at the community center and the annex are complete. Masonry repairs at the communication tower are ongoing. And the flat roof reconstruction is scheduled to begin this week. And project completion is still anticipated this month. Again, that is weather pending. The town hall windows and repointing, there's still minor punch list items which remain open, so we're not ready to close that project out. All of the work on the interior of the building, all of the mold remediation, the lead paint remediation, asbestos work, that is all complete. And the police department has returned to town hall as of November 25th. And Solutions Architecture is continuing to move forward with the facilities audit. They are now moving into scanning the annex now that the police department's moved out of the annex building. So they'll complete the scan of that building, and they'll be assessing all the upcoming needs for all the township's facilities. And then we have our professional services RFPs are due December 9th. So we'll have discussion at the upcoming meeting in December, the next meeting, December 15th. Aside from that, I am happy to answer any questions from the council.
Just one, Mr. Sullivan. When do we think the emergency services building will be back on the agenda?
So I would like to target a discussion with the council in January. I do have some follow-up discussions I need to have with Solutions Architecture on some updated information that they provided. I'm scheduling a phone call with Mr. Massinio, and I'd like to target a presentation in January after the holidays.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Holland?
Related there too, I see that you have that you're working with Solutions Architecture to reevaluate the Lakeside Avenue lot as item 9 on your manager's report. In June, I raised a number of questions, and then they were committed to writing by all of the council in August. I don't believe we've gotten responses to those questions yet. And it looks like we're moving forward with expanding the scope of Solutions Architecture. So can we get a detailed accounting of how much money has been spent by Solutions and how that accords with funding that was approved for this project?
Yes.
And the answers to the questions as well. Thank you.
Other questions? Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes, I actually want to ask about the open space piece of your report, specifically on Commerce Park. It's wonderful that we have a volunteer Eagle Scout who is working on some trail work there. But I do feel that we, when we purchased this property a long time ago, we promised the public that they would be involved in kind of how it would be utilized. And I feel like we've gotten some great pieces about our open space and our open space trust fund. We've gotten like finances is one piece. I know the Land Conservancy is doing work, but we really need like a strategic plan on all of our open space and then how we can improve upon what we've purchased as a framework for going forward and how to spend the open space trust fund and how to evaluate making additional purchases of land or improvements on existing property, and how we can use the Open Space Trust Fund maybe to do other improvements, like can we use it for field maintenance and stuff like that. So I saw that you're applying for a grant to do this walking trail through this parcel, but we never really had a conversation on how that entire parcel would be utilized. And when we purchased it, which was before your tenure here, we raised like a lot of different ideas with the public, and they clearly wanted to be involved. Everything from a basketball court to another community garden to a dog park to like a lot of things. So I do hope in early 2026 we can talk about like strategically the big picture of our open space and some of the individual parcels, this Commerce Court being one of them. Also, how do we make Mount Prospect more accessible so it can be utilized by the public, which is the terms of getting Green Acres money. So, and I'm happy to have a conversation offline if, to clarify my request. But I think you.
Sure. I think those are all comments well received, and the grant process for Green Acres requires an open public comment period, and it requires a public presentation. So the opportunity to apply for a grant would obligate us to have that public input. Any element that is improved upon in any of those public spaces certainly requires some accessibility, which would link public roads, parking spaces, or to the site itself and any other future development. So part of the first phase of that is establishing some framework while preserving the open space nature, and then also considering what potential future uses could come of the site. But phase one is certainly the idea of trying to make it accessible, which is what this would certainly accomplish, with the idea that the public comment could and will shape what the other future uses will become. So I understand your comments, and we'll certainly effectually make sure that we move forward with the public involvement as part of this process as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This has all, by the way, been discussed at Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Committee meetings as far as what we're looking at with respect to the property, ideas coming out. One of the reasons why some of these discussions are on hold is because there's a property that may or may not be acquired, and the acquisition of that property would significantly reduce the available funds in the trust fund. So we're kind of waiting to hear back on from the property owner about that property being acquired, and at that point we'll know more on if we can actually, what money we could spend potentially from the trust fund in order to be used on that. But the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Committee has been discussing all of that, prioritizing, and that's been happening in open meetings as well. We can continue the work on that committee on that side. Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear, Mayor. We would love to have them in and, get an update for us, the council, or see any, summaries of their work. And I think that does get to, whether or not we acquire future property that uses a big chunk of the trust fund, gets to my strategic, kind of concern that we kind of evaluate the big picture before we make big decisions. And I don't know if we have some of the pieces, but I think we just need to kind of link it all together. But maybe that work's already been done, and I look forward to reviewing it.
The committee is actively working on those discussions and their minutes, and you can certainly watch the meetings if you would like more information. All right, moving on to the deputy manager's report. Mr. Krause.
I do not have much to add. With the town hall improvements, the Pioche complaint has been closed out. For the roof replacement work, there is asbestos siding at the DPW garage that is scheduled to be removed beginning on Wednesday. There will be perimeter air monitoring to ensure the work is done safely and no employees are exposed to anything. The township is still advertising for building subcode official. Our new IT director will be starting on Monday, December 8th. The results of open enrollment, there were, I believe, 6 or 8 changes were emailed to the council 2 weeks ago to remain consistent with industry norms and ensure that individuals still in high school at 18 years old did not have their dental coverage terminated. The end date for dental coverage was amended to 19 years old. There is one additional lead law mailing going out to property owners that should be sent out this week. Property owners who have rental properties that are subject to the lead law have until December 31st to come into compliance by scheduling an inspection or being inspected. After January 1st, they will receive summonses. And the Natural Climate Solutions narrative is complete. We have a few letters of support, and then administration will be meeting with Millennium to finalize the grant application for approximately $400,000 to plant 400 trees over the next 36 months. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Roman.
Yeah, you flagged a couple of times on your reports the organic field maintenance program that apparently that is only sort of working and not delivering the best result. Can we get a copy of that report from Green Valley? What is the plan basically with this if it's delivering kind of mixed results?
I need to get a final letter from, I forget the vendor's name that was evaluating it.
Green Valley.
It was Green Valley, yes. They provided an update mid-season. I will get one from them for the end of the season.
Okay.
But the initial update was that there was, while the grass appeared healthy from afar, when you got close, it was weeds. It wasn't the healthiest grass.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. In your community services and pool update, your last bullet is about the pool marketing committee. And I know we received some additional information on email on that. I just want to ensure that that's going to be blasted out to the entire community so that everyone has a chance to equally volunteer. Is that your plan?
There is a defined size for the committee and specific members that we're still fine tuning what the members would be. It's a combination of existing pool staff, administration.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, there were a representative from the Recreation Advisory Committee, a representative. I forget how we had a specific range of participants, but we would certainly, for a public member, we would certainly open up the same way that we would have for other advisory committees.
Mr. Sullivan, I was going to bring this up later as we got into the full discussion, but I think the feedback that I know I received from residents, we have a lot of residents willing to help. And as of the last I read, there were only 2 public spaces for public members. So I think we can differentiate between, and I'm hoping this is your intent, people that are on a core steering committee and people who just want to volunteer and get out and go to events and push the pool. So I think we need to expand that out a little bit. And obviously this is your committee that, it's not a council committee, not an appointment that we're going to be making. But expand it out, just to have volunteers and maybe add that, X number of, well, you can't have too many you can't manage, but, if you have 15 people that are willing to go out to events and promote pool memberships, we should be using all 15 of those people for that piece, but you don't necessarily need all 15 of those people to drive the marketing plan. But I definitely would like to see somebody who is going to be willing to go out and do a lot of that public interaction to be on the committee. Does that make sense?
It does.
And I know we had some of our senior citizen members of the pool that were very interested in doing that. So I know my thought would be to make sure that we include at least one on the committee, because they have already committed, and I forwarded the information to you and Mrs. Prisco, but I've already committed to putting some hours into this. So I don't want to discourage anybody from volunteering. So you can have committee members and you can have volunteers beyond that. Just want to make sure that we're on the same page with that. And anybody who does not get a committee seat can certainly still volunteer, right? Deputy Mayor, did
Just a question, an update on our streetscape schedule. When the report would be coming in for that?
The meetings are still happening between strands and different community groups. I don't know when they plan to release their design report. I would anticipate it in early 2026.
They're meeting again with the Shade Tree Commission at the Shade Tree Commission's upcoming meeting in December. I think that's December 9th. They will be meeting with, continuing to meet and fine tune all of the feedback that they've received into a recommendation on concepts and visuals for what the design would then look like and associated cost estimates. While they're going through that, we still have a grant application that is pending. So while we're waiting to hear back on the grant application, it allows them the opportunity to really vet and get us all of the input from the community and all the different interest groups and make sure that they're providing a cohesive design that tries to address as many of those comments as they've been receiving. But I think early 2026 is what the target is. That said, there's a lot of committees and it's a very key artery throughout the town. So there's a lot of people with a lot of input that they're trying to put together.
I just, before they write a report, I think it might be helpful for the council to meet in small groups, maybe 2 at a time or something like that, because otherwise we're getting a report and that's now becoming public. Sure. And that we haven't actually been able to put our input there, and then we're potentially suggesting alterations to a report that's already been drafted. Mm-hmm. So if you can arrange that, 2 at a time, I think would be fine. It doesn't have to be 1 at a time. But if you can do that on Zoom or something like that, just putting that out there to save probably a lot of time, sure, effort, and consternation later. Councilman McGrath?
I just want to clarify that the Shade Tree meeting is on Monday, the 8th at 5 o'clock. Okay.
Maybe one more. Yeah.
Councilman.
Thank you. Just general question. This wasn't on either of your reports, but e-bike safety. I've seen a lot of sort of public concern and discussion about e-bikes lately, especially with younger people. I see that we have we have a discussion coming up with Neighborhood Traffic and Safety Committee, and obviously a lot of kids will probably be getting these for Christmas. Just kind of curious if there's any discussion ongoing within the township or within the police department, et cetera, about e-bike safety. And
so I know that there was some cross promotion of some safety programs first targeted at the actual users, the kids on the e-bikes, and then more recently targeted at parents of e-bike users. That stemmed, it's largely a cross promotion with a lot of discussions that have been begun with Neighborhood Traffic Safety Committee. That said, I know that it's something that the police department is acutely aware of, and they're continuing to have those discussions. I can get an update from the chief on any further discussions or thoughts he's had, or anything that he's hearing from enforcement or state legislation or things like that he can pass on to the council.
That would be very much appreciated. Like I said, I've just seen an uptick in people being concerned about it and discussing it. So nice to know.
I've had conversations with Chief Kiernan on this issue, and he's happy to come in, present statistics as far as how many interactions they've had with either juveniles or parents related to these things, what infractions there might be, enforcement, and what they're planning on doing as well moving forward. So I believe the chief will be here at the next meeting potentially, yes. So we could ask him to add that to his agenda.
Okay. Anything you can do for us would be great.
Sure. There's also on the residents township news section of the website, there's e-bike info for parents. There's a Zoom link. It appears that there's 2 sessions on December 10th, one at 1:45 p.m. and one from 8 to 8:45 p.m. for e-bike safety for parents.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I know there's some,
Deputy Mayor.
I know there's some towns that are looking into ordinances to restrict these because they are getting very dangerous.
I think that's one of the interesting things is we did bring this up at a previous meeting, and kind of the prevailing wisdom at that time was that this was covered by state statute and that we should continue. So I don't know, just we can look at that. I think it was Ramsey or something is doing one today. Maybe we can take a look at what they're doing that might be beyond state statute. But the reality of it is, no matter what it is, it's an enforcement question, right? And that's what we need to hear, I think, from the chief about. But it's definitely an enforcement issue. And one of the issues I think related to this enforcement is if you're a police officer and you're going to stop, you don't want to chase somebody, right? You don't want somebody, the police wouldn't chase somebody on an e-bike, but you don't want somebody to feel like they should drive away at a reckless rate or something like that, because that potentially causes injury. So enforcement is very tricky on these things, and that's something that I think the chief can opine on more, just as a piece of that. But it definitely is an enforcement question.
I think that would just be a good discussion item.
I would absolutely agree with that.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to council member reports. Deputy Mayor McAvoy, we're at you.
Thank you. I will be brief because I'll be repetitive. I too attended the League of Municipalities and look forward to bringing what we learned down there into conversations over the years, over the next year or two. Unfortunately, during the League, there was a historic preservation meeting that went on that I had to miss, but I know they are still looking into moving the freight shed 100% onto town property. I have talked to Sandy about that, and we're looking to move forward with that in the coming months. We do have a survey already done. I too would like to congratulate Chief Tedesco, Chief Valentine, and Chief Gifford. I also attended the testimonial dinner, and I will add one name to the 50 years of service or more. It was Rich Luzzy. So there were 3 that were honored there, and it's just 50 years of plus service to the Township of Verona's residents is just amazing. So I thank them and all the other officers that received awards that night for their length of duty. And lastly, the Clergy Council of Verona had their interfaith ceremony. Every year I look forward to attending that, and they move it from different house of worship to house of worship. There's not many townships that do that. So my hat's off to the Clergy Council in Verona for what they do and bringing everybody together. It's always a very welcoming ceremony, and it was very well attended again this year. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Roman.
Thank you, Mayor. In light of our lengthy agenda, I'll waive my report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. The community thanks you as well. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you, Mayor. I too attended the League of Municipalities. I really love this annual event. It is one of the only chances we get to interact with our peers and really go to sessions where we can learn some new things and talk about new ideas. I found the best sessions were on the last day, on Thursday. I went to a session on how AI is transforming government. That was really fascinating. I would be happy to have sideline conversations with my peers or anyone from the administration on what was discussed. I also went to a great seminar on addressing food insecurity in your community, which was led by the Maplewood team and Woodbridge. They're doing some really creative stuff in the area of addressing food insecurity, which many residents know is an issue that I've been passionate about for a very long time. So it was a great league, and look forward always to next year. I too attended the Interfaith Clergy's Thanksgiving service, which was really fantastic this year, and it was on the theme of compassion. And I think we all can agree that the world needs a little bit more compassion right now. And so I just thank them, all of our faith leaders, for their collaboration and service, and their giving spirit to our community. This is, not something that they need to do. It's something they do because they believe so closely in it. And it really makes me proud to be a Verona resident when I go to this service. So thank you, clergy. I continued my annual tradition on Small Business Saturday by visiting our small retail businesses in town to do my holiday shopping and to stop in and touch base with small business retail owners. I then put those videos on my social media, Christine McGrath Verona, on Instagram and Facebook. And it got a lot of positive views and likes and generated conversation, and I hope follows. It's really important to support our small business owners who I feel are really courageous individuals. Owning a small business is incredibly difficult, especially one that's in retail where you're selling physical things like books and candy and housewares and clothing when there's so much competition with online shopping. So I do encourage everyone to shop local this year. If you normally go to one shop, challenge yourself to walk into two others. And if you haven't shopped local yet, I encourage you to walk into one of our amazing businesses. I believe the Chamber of Commerce is having a special event on Thursday night for late shopping. So I encourage you to go to the Verona Chamber of Commerce site. They'll have a list of all the businesses that are open late on Thursday. And then, Mayor, in new business, I would like to bring up discussing committee appointments. I know the Neighborhood Traffic and Safety Committee has at least one opening and may have one upcoming. And I know a lot of people have applied. So if we can talk about that in new business for a future meeting, that would be great.
It's already on the list.
It's already on the list?
The list. I'm already bringing it up.
You're already bringing it up. Okay, thank you. And that's my report.
Councilwoman Holland.
Thank you. We are on December 1st now, and I know affordability is a major concern of many families in New Jersey. So I want to remind all residents, as I often do at council meetings, that we are now within the winter termination program period that establishes a moratorium on utility shutoffs into the spring. So if you are having any kind of difficulty paying your electric and gas bill, or otherwise, please avail yourself of that program and so that you can keep your gas and electricity on, especially as it gets colder and colder these months. I do want to acknowledge the Food Pantry at Holy Spirit for their assistance to families during the recent federal government shutdown and the SNAP program issues that arose. It was very meaningful to learn of the work that they had put in to assist families during that time. I know that several of my colleagues referenced their attendance at the League. I was not at the League of Municipalities this recent November, nor did I attend any of those events. However, I was able to attend the Interfaith Thanksgiving service, which did in fact focus on compassion, as the councilwoman referenced. And I just want to thank many members of the community for all the compassion that they showed my family during the month of November, which was a particularly challenging time for us. So thank you. It's wonderful to be part of a community that comes together and supports neighbors during challenging times. I'll just conclude my report by referencing the fact that tomorrow is Giving Tuesday, and we have a number of amazing nonprofit organizations here in the Township of Verona. So take your pick of whichever one that you think is the best. But I do encourage you to contribute during Giving Tuesday. There is extraordinary need every year, but in particular this year, I think there is more. And so I do just encourage all families to contribute as best you can. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. This time we'll open for public comment on any item any member of the public wishes to bring forth to the council. Madam Clerk, would you please read the public participation statement?
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any matter, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on your monitor. If you're dialing in by phone, please press *9. And if you're attending in person, please raise your hand and be acknowledged before approaching the lectern. Once you're recognized, clearly state only your name and township of residence for the record. You're not required to provide your street address. However, if you do, please note that these meetings will be posted on the Township's YouTube channel and addresses will not be redacted for any purpose. You'll have 4 minutes to address the council. There'll be no cross dialogue during this public portion, and after everyone wishing to speak has been heard, the council may address your comments and or questions.
Thank you. Anybody in the room wish to speak? Mr. Shore?
Thank you. Corey Shore, Verona, New Jersey. I just want to wish everybody happy holidays and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you had a great holiday weekend. Just a couple of points on the pool because I'm not sure we'll be able to comment on it as you have first reading tonight. I was looking at the agenda. I was looking at is there a service or membership contract between the rescue squad and the community pool that's going to be signed by both entities? That's important to finalize what the responsibility is of both the town and both the rescue squad. So I didn't see anything on that. I think any inclusion on that would be fantastic. Just a couple additional points I've stated before. I do think that family nights should be limited in scope, maybe to once a month, trying to protect our membership as much as possible at $10 an evening. If there are 10 evenings during the summer, that's $100. You have individuals membership that's $457, or Twilight that's around, I think, like $220, something like that. I think we want to try to push the Twilight maybe into the those that are doing the family nights. But I think the family nights are something that's way overdue to be changed. I also looked in a lot of the documents, and I didn't see an updated budget. I see a budget that's done by the Recreational Committee. I see the one that was done by New Gen. I have not seen one that's done by administration. I think it would be a good idea to take both of those documents and put into an official administration budget. So this way it can be rolled out every single year, and you can see how much your revenue is, how much your expenses are, and what is your profit, red or black, and then where you're going, and you can compare it to other years. I'd really like to see that. I think the council should see that before taking any votes on what they're doing. Commenting on the sandbox and volleyball, I didn't say anything about that. I restate that 60% last time during the survey said that they wanted a volleyball court, but did not state anything about removing the sand. I haven't heard anything about that. I do not think the administration should remove the sand until there is more public feedback on or a alternative solution on what kids are going to be able to do at the community pool, especially ones that are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, that you want to try to bring people into the community pool. I know the sand's a problem, but let's find an alternative solution, not just take it out and say, too bad. I also do not agree on the 2% increase for membership. We're trying to win back families. We've done 28% increases over the last 2 years. The extra $15,000 is not going to make or break the pool. It might just, in fact, drive it the other way. You want to, with a marketing committee, a marketing tool, try to win back families, family memberships that the last 2 years that got a big hit. Once again, happy holidays to everybody, and thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Shore. Going on to Kevin Ryan on Zoom. Yep, I think you just, there he is. He went down somehow. I think he lowered his hand.
And I haven't allowed him to talk.
Hit the allow.
Raised it by accident.
Here he comes.
There we go. All right, go ahead, Mr. Ryan.
Hi, good evening. Kevin Ryan, Verona, New Jersey. Just a quick question about the zoning code, which is chapter 150, and as it relates to the master plan. The actual zoning code book that was last looked at in totality, I'll call it, was actually done back in 2011. And I know that obviously amendments have been made to the code, but I was wondering, is there any effort at that point in time? The review was coordinated with the master plan that was adopted back then. And I know we've adopted a new master plan. I'd like to know if there's any effort going on right now to continue the review of the zoning code and correlate it to the current version of the master plan. If someone could give me an update on that, I think it would be helpful. And second point, I am currently sitting on the Board of Adjustment, and we've had a number of cases that have come before us where they've been somewhat controversial in nature, and I'll just leave it at that. But one thing that seems to pop up is when the board approves a variance, let's say, oftentimes a number of conditions are attached to approval, and when the information then is passed back, I guess, to the building department, maybe the town manager could. I'd like to know if there's any enforcement mechanism to make sure that the conditions are being complied with before permits are issued. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody else? Josh? No, I get to decide who goes. Josh.
Thank you very much. Josh, Verona, New Jersey. I am here to talk about traffic safety on Bloomfield Avenue. In the past 2 weeks, there were 4 accidents on the downhill stretch of Bloomfield Avenue outside of the park. Now, I don't know if they were all from entering the park or leaving the park, but they were all within 20 feet of that park entrance. So I'm here tonight to bring attention to this. I think that there are some things that could be done. I know that there are discussions being had with the county, but I also want to bring up those discussions have been going on for 10 years. And, I followed up my last meeting, the last meeting when I was here a month ago, with some questions and some firm commitments I'd like from the county, a timeline, some commitments to a light. I know that you've had some discussions with them, but I think more needs to be done and sooner. It is extremely dangerous. It's dangerous for residents. It's bad for business, and it's really bad for our reputation. I talked to the county liaison, and there's these words being used, and they keep saying enforcement. And I really do not believe that there's an enforcement issue there. There's a geography. I mean, there's a downhill stretch. You can only enforce so much by planting an officer there 24/7, and that's just not possible. We brought this up. County's ignored, maybe about 100 of my emails and phone calls over the past few years, but I know there are discussions. I think we need to hold them accountable. If they're going to willfully ignore, these safety concerns, I think that we should hold them responsible for the damage that comes from them. Perhaps charging them back for our police hours. We had an accident where somebody had to be transported to the hospital 2 weeks ago. We had a street cleaning crew come up and clean. They know there's an issue, but there's nothing being done. So I really want to bring additional attention to this, and I'll continue to advocate for traffic safety on the downhill stretch of Bloomfield Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Trey, come on up.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and Council. Trey Steinman, Verona, New Jersey. As a member of Verona and an active member of the pool, as well as an employee, I'd like to share an idea that I thought could make the pool more flexible, affordable, and family-friendly with regards to full memberships and individual day passes. Currently, the pool offers single-day passes and full memberships. With this system has worked so far, it makes it harder for casual visitors or families who want to visit more often. This in turn leads to fewer people buying memberships and visiting the pool. A solution I would like to propose to introduce is multi-visit packs. For example, if a day pass costs $20, a 5-pack could be priced at $19 per pass, a 15-pack at $18 per pass, and a 25-pack at $17 per pass. These are just hypothetical examples, but they show how packs could encourage repeat attendance while encouraging participation. Even with these packs, a full membership would still be the best deal. Assuming a full membership costs roughly $700 for a family of 5, the cost per person would be $140. Compare this to a 25-pack at $17 per one person. If each person uses all 25 visits, they would spend $425 individually, which is significantly more than the $140 per person cost under a full membership. Introducing packs in this way could bring several important benefits. For casual visitors or families who aren't ready for a membership, packs would provide more flexibility and an easier way to enjoy the pool. At the same time, packs would encourage repeat visits, motivating residents to come back regularly and strengthening the community engagement. These passes could be used individually or shared among a group, encouraging better participation. Full membership should still be the most cost-effective option for frequent users, but packs could serve as a bridge for those who might eventually upgrade to a membership. This approach would also make the pool more accessible, giving more residents the chance to participate without committing upfront to a full membership. From an administrative perspective, tracking package usage could be as straightforward as using simple systems like punch cards, booklets, or digital barcodes. Finally, packs could benefit the pool in the long term. Casual visitors who enjoy using them may decide to purchase a full membership later, supporting both engagement and revenue. As someone who both uses and works at the pool, I believe this approach could balance accessibility, affordability, and long-term engagement for all members of our community. It provides options for casual visitors while still rewarding families and frequent users with the best value. Thank you for your time, and I hope the council will consider exploring this option.
Thank you, Mr. Steinman. Monica?
The young Mr. Steinman.
Third.
Good evening. Christine, thank you for supporting small businesses. Appreciate you stopping by my sister's shop. My name is Monica Vincent. I'm a Verona resident. On November 10th, I sent this council an email that reiterated concerns I first raised on September 13th regarding the proposed $40 million emergency services building. In that email, I asked what I believe is a straightforward and essential question. Has our town manager ever led a project of this size? I recognize there will be a project manager, but ultimately that project manager is reporting to the town manager. Just as I did on November 10th, I'm raising this again because the council is now considering an additional $325,000 for Everett Field after already approving $4 million for that project. If we cannot keep a single baseball field with a $4 million price tag within budget, how can residents be confident that this same leadership can execute a $40 million emergency services building responsibly? So I ask you to approve, before approving any further spending, to make sure that the public is provided with clear documented evidence that this town manager is able to demonstrate the capacity to manage it. Secondly, I'm up here tonight. Earlier this year, I asked this town council to reconsider allowing churches and houses of worship to promote religious events on public property. I'd like you to reconsider that tonight as well. Last month, one of the churches used public property to promote not only a private revenue generating event, but they also promoted a restaurant located outside of Verona, not even in Essex County. So while the mayor stated at the last time I got up here to ask that these churches, these houses of worships are doing good, during his reelection campaign and even during these council meetings, he is asking small businesses in Verona to offset costs by sponsoring things like the Verona pool. Yet public property is being used to advertise organizations that neither support nor reflect the values or the economy of Verona. We need to be supporting small businesses more than ever. And as I mentioned earlier this year, our small business community is dwindling, and we shouldn't be punishing them with fees or asking them to offset stuff that this town manager and council cannot adequately budget. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment. Just going back to a couple of these things. Mr. Shore, you were first. I think I can't comment on the rescue squad or fire department membership contract. Mr. O'Sullivan, did you want to address that?
Sure, Mayor. There is an ordinance tonight which, in lieu of a formal signed agreement, which would need to be renewed annually, there's an ordinance which actually codifies on a permanent basis the obligations of the general budget sending money to the pool utility for the reasonable value of the free memberships that were afforded to the fire and rescue members. So that is not by an annual agreement, but actually more permanent by an ordinance. So that is on tonight's agenda for introduction.
I think the question was, is there going to be some kind of specific, written instrument or something like that the outside organization, the rescue squad and the fire department sign that memorializes what we're adopting?
Well, no, it's.
I think Mr. Shore's point is, can we have one? Can there be some kind of memorandum of? Is that, you can nod your head, Corey? Yeah. Can we have some kind of memorandum of?
A summary of the calculations to be performed?
Yeah, that could be just what is being offered in exchange for what, right? Just some kind of memorandum. The same thing we do with the school district and whatever when we do this.
Brian, do you want?
So we had an internal debate, Mayor, of doing this.
I'm sure this was
And
exciting.
One of the issues that was raised was if you're tying that, I'll call the volunteers volunteering to the free membership, it's no longer a free membership. And it seemed as though we were forcing the volunteers to do even more volunteer work. And after discussing it internally, I believe it was the group's collective thought process was that the council, by passing the ordinance that it has indicated that the volunteers provide significant benefit to the residents of the township. We want to encourage volunteers and at the same time thank the volunteers. Therefore, we didn't want to put a monetary amount on their volunteering service. They've indicated they're going to continue to volunteer, meaning, they're volunteers on the first aid squad and the fire department, and they'll continue to volunteer at the pool. But we didn't think it was going to be helpful for the situation to try to put a monetary amount on that and take attendance and hours and whatnot. And it seemed as though it was taking away from the pool membership. So we thought the much better way to do it was say, hey, you're getting a free pool membership and kind of continue to volunteer. So if those volunteer organizations want to permanently say they're going to volunteer and enter into some type of agreement, that's great. But some years you might have 5 rescue squads and 3 fire department members volunteer at the pool, for instance. And the following year, there might be 10 or 15 because there's greater interest and there's more numbers or whatever. And, it goes up and it down and whatnot. We just thought this was a better way to get to the same result. This way, the pool's finances are stable and the volunteers can continue to do their volunteer work and are thanked through the township through the free pool membership.
Thank you for the explanation. I can't comment on that, but that is the explanation. And if you could say volunteer just a couple more times tonight, that would be very helpful. I agree with Mr. Shore on having an updated itemized budget. I think that would be really helpful, something that we track throughout the season as well. And I think Mr. Shore and the rec committee provided a really good model of something we can go from. We want us to just plagiarize theirs for the administration.
Sure. We've been sitting with CFO preparing and the annual process would be for introduction of that budget. Typically, we provide that introduction. We present it to the council in March for an introduction in April. We can provide some periodic updates and some draft updates on where we currently are with that process. We just sat with our CFO earlier this morning to review where we are on all of the budgets for utilities and general budget, but I can certainly distribute that to the council. So the council's aware of where we are currently in the 2026 budget planning process.
More information is always better. On the volleyball court, I know this came down to administration with the concern about the sand getting the pool filter and what the court was being used for. So I think we'll leave that as, my opinion, that should be an administrative decision based on the needs of the pool. But I would like to hear from the administration at some point if there's going to be, some kind of other play type facility put in that would meet the need of that. And on the fees, I think you make a good point, Mr. Shore. It's important to contextualize this conversation with the fact that the original report suggestion, I think, had us increasing by another 10% this year. So 2% is lower. One of the reasons why the pool finances are the way they are is that as minimum wage went up, as minimum wage went up, the fees never went up to go with that. So I think we're in a position of trying to find a sweet spot there with trying to make sure we raise a little bit more revenue. And minimum wage actually went up by 1%. I think it's like 4.3% for seasonal employees, or 4.7 or something like that. That actually exceeds this. So we're still not making all of that revenue up. But I think the reason why it's 2% versus 3% or 4% or 6% or whatever is because we're trying to make up some of that while not pricing people out, while not making it too elastic in that way. To Mr. Ryan's point about the zoning change, yes, that is in process. Our planners are working on that. It is the advice of our planners and legal counsel to wait for the affordable housing situation to finish this round of affordable housing, because any changes in that could affect the negotiations with the interveners and all of that. So yes, that is being done. As far as the enforcement, looking at permit conditions and the Board of Adjustment, I think that's something Mr. O'Sullivan will have to research and get back to us on. I don't know what the specific procedure is there, unless you do.
It has been creating a procedure that I think did not exist previously. So it is cleaning up some prior approvals and also making sure that all of the ongoing approvals and any conditions associated with them are compliant. I know our zoning officer, before they release any final zoning permits, they do go through each of the conditions of approvals. It is a little bit more of an endeavor to go backwards on previous approvals, though, but moving forward, it has been corrected. It's a slower process to go backwards and clean up prior approvals, though.
Excellent, thank you. To Mr. Jacobs, I agree with your points on Bloomfield Avenue. Some of that obviously is stuff we can't control, as far as telling people actually following the posted speed limits and walking crosswalks and things like that. So that's one of those pieces. I know the conversations between Mr. O'Sullivan and the county have been happening, but it's been the county's position historically that there are lights too close to where a potential light would be. And I know those situations are ongoing. In the coming years, quite soon, all of our lights will be redone on Bloomfield Avenue. So hopefully that could be part of that conversation, and go from there. I don't see a legal mechanism, Mr. Aloya, correct me if I'm wrong, to somehow bill the county or something like that for services or street sweeping or police or anything like that.
That's correct, Mayor.
What's that?
That's correct.
That's correct. To young Mr. Steinman, thank you for coming forth and pitching your idea. I know that this had been a big discussion in the past, and it's something to look at as we move forward. I'll ask Mrs. Prisco and Mr. O'Sullivan to take a look at the recommendation and get back to us. But I think you make some excellent points in here, and I'm very happy that you came before us to bring up these points, because we've had a lot of very good feedback from the people on the front lines of the pool and helping to make decisions, including some other, at that time, Verona High School students or alums in that side. So I think you make some great points, and I do want to study them and get some recommendations from the administration. I would ask you, if you can, if you have not done so, to email your comments, Mrs. Prisco, and you can talk to her in the hallway or something later and get through that, so you can look at those items. To Ms. Vincent, as far as Mr. O'Sullivan's qualifications, Mr. O'Sullivan is a licensed professional engineer and maintains that license. In addition to being an engineer for a large municipal contractor, prior to coming into public service, Mr. O'Sullivan was the executive director of the Municipal Utilities Authority in Kearney, correct? And supervised some pretty significant infrastructure there, as well as being a township administrator in another municipality. So I have confidence in Mr. O'Sullivan's ability with all of his qualifications and experience. In organizing this project, I didn't have confidence in him. He would not be the one that is running it, but I appreciate you bringing the concern forth regardless. I brought up the concern related to $325,000 extra for Everett in the last meeting. I brought up good concern that maybe we should overestimate, and Councilman Roman brought up the great point that if we do that, that potentially could make all of our projects more expensive. So we do have to allow for some revision on that. I don't love that, but that's unfortunately what we have to do on those areas. As far as allowing churches to advertise, the advertising, I'll call them stakes, the wooden stakes, are open to any organization. We can't discriminate based on that. You either have to allow everybody or nobody to participate there, and it's something that builds community. I know the one church that you were referencing is the Episcopal Church of the Holy Spirit. They had a fish and chips dinner, and they were not necessarily advertising the restaurant, but they were go to this restaurant, but they were saying this is the restaurant that is doing the fish and chips dinner in order to bring people into that. And I believe, and I continue to believe, that the Holy Spirit Church does a lot of great work for this community. In fact, you just heard Councilman Holland bring up their efforts during the SNAP reduction, also feeding people throughout the year, meeting needs, especially around Thanksgiving time. And they're doing a great job, and the organizations put out there. So I'm not casting necessarily a value judgment on anybody's advertising, because we allow everybody to advertise if you're a nonprofit group. And churches fall under nonprofit under state and federal law. So we either allow everybody or nobody. But I would certainly argue that not only is that the case, but also that our organization is doing excellent work for this community. And I hope that they continue to do that. There was a comment as well about the suggestion that we are asking businesses to offset other things. Businesses can certainly say no. We're not requiring, we're not increasing any kind of revenue instrument on these businesses. The only thing we've done recently is we are now licensing massage parlors and beauty parlors as a recommendation for enforcement purposes and inspection purposes by the Bloomfield Health Department, which is going to certainly make everything safe and make sure that everybody is hygienic and healthier in town. And any other council members have any comments? Councilman Roman?
I'll just expand on the budgeting for projects. This was kind of brought up. Let's just budget more for projects because there's always change orders. One of the problems with working in the public sphere here is that everything that we budget is publicly disseminated. And my fear of doing that, if we try and make all of our projects sort of zero change order projects, contractors are just simply going to bid to our budget. And then they come back with change orders anyway. So it's, as much as it doesn't look great, it's better for us to budget conservatively on these projects and to encourage contractors to bid as competitively as they possibly can. If you look at the history of our projects recently, there's a couple of things that we've gotten a lot better at. Number one is the aggressiveness and quantity of bids that we receive in projects. At the bid stage, I would say that since Mr. O'Sullivan joined us, the number of bids that we receive and how competitive some of them are has been a substantial improvement. And the other thing is that we also aggressively pursue negative change orders at project closeouts. So if a contractor puts in their original bid, I'm going to replace 30 yards of sidewalk, then we go back at project closeout and go, oh, well, you only actually replaced 28, give us a credit back for the rest of it. And it may be small dollars, but it adds up. It's just something that I would say we didn't pursue as aggressively in the past. We do now, but there is a lot of attention being paid to the costs that we're paying for our major capital projects and at least delivering best value. Contracting is very, very expensive nowadays. Getting anything built, anyone that's even tried to get anything done on their house just knows what contractors are charging. And in the public sector, it's even costlier, particularly with the size of infrastructure projects we do. But I'm happy with how we manage things. I think that at the end of the day, when we actually execute these projects, they get done very well. And we are good at protecting the taxpayer's investment and, again, trying to get best value at them. So this is, again, something we pretty continuously look at through the course of these projects. And we give plenty of feedback to our managers, and we tell them if we don't think a change order is valid or if we think that a contractor is not doing the right thing, they hear it from us. So that's just my opinion as to how we manage projects, but I'm pretty pleased with our project management here as a whole, but I appreciate your comments.
Councilman Roman? Okay, at this time, we'll be moving on to the hearing, adoption, or amendment of ordinances. Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2025-20. On second reading, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
A bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $325,000 for preliminary planning expenses and improvement of Everett Field in and by the Township of Verona, the County of Essex, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $325,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance?
So moved.
The motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second's made by Councilman Roman. At this time, we'll open for public comment. On this ordinance only, the same public comment statement applies. However, comments are limited to this ordinance. Seeing no public comment, I hereby close public comment. Any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Yes.
Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor Ordinance 2025-20 passes 5-0, will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2025-21. On second reading, Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 140 of the Township Code entitled Vehicles and Traffic to create a new Article 15 entitled Traffic Control at the Community Center lots, including the parking lots of Liberty and Freedom Field parking lots.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion is made by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second's made by Councilwoman Holland. This time, we'll open for public comment on this ordinance only. The same public comment statement applies. Hearing none, I close public comment. Any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Yes.
Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor Ordinance 2025-21 passes 5-0, and it will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2025-22 on second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 222, Article 1, entitled Display of Flags of the Code of the Township of Verona.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll move this ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is by Councilwoman McGrath. This time, I'll open for public comment and public hearing on this ordinance. The same public comment statement applies. Seeing none, any council discussion? My only discussion is thank you for working on this, and the military flags did look great around Veterans Day time in the Civic Center, and a few of the veterans commented on their appreciation for having all of the services represented. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Yes.
Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor Ordinance 2025-22 passes 5-0. We published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance I-1 on first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 150 zoning, Article 13, nonconforming uses and structures, Section 13.3, extensions, enlargements, or changes, and Paragraph B.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll move this ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconds by the Deputy Mayor. This time, is there any council discussion on ordinance 2025? I-1.
We just asked for a capsule explain around what we're changing here. I understand for the public's benefit.
Sure. We went over new business. Go ahead, Mr. Loya.
Sure. What this does is this clarifies that if you have a structure that is currently too large, not into the current code, that you cannot continually you can't extend it and continue almost making the greater, the nonconformity even greater. So you could have to go to the board and ask for a variance. Where under the current code, you're allowed, if you had a house that's too close to your neighbors, you can extend the house. So now it's, instead of 10 feet long, too close to your neighbors, it's 20 feet long, too close to your neighbors.
So everybody has to follow the appropriate setbacks.
That's correct.
Or ask for a variance.
Or ask for a variance.
All right, we're sending some work to you, Mr. Ryan. Any other council discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor, I-1 will be numbered 2025-23, will be published according to law and sent to the planning board for determination of consistency with the master plan.
I think that's the planning board. I'm sorry that I misheard what you said. You said what was right, and my brain was not working at that moment. All right, Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda is I-2 on first reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
An ordinance to amend Chapter A 565-7 of the Code of the Township of Verona, pool fees.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second? Well, I'll second it. Any council discussion on ordinance I-2? We've had extensive discussion in new business. Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes, so I asked a clarifying question, just looking back to last year's ordinance about the preseason guest book and the guest book being 12 passes. Right, those guest books they're books of 12. I just want confirmation.
Correct. They are 12
passes. Mm-hmm. In our ordinance last year, that was actually in the ordinance for clarity. So I don't know if we can just add for clarity's sake that the guest book is for 12 passes.
If you want to ordain that, you certainly can, but otherwise it gives easier ability for the administration to change it next year or the year after. If you ordain it, then it's 12 unless you change your ordinance.
I tend to agree with Councilwoman McGrath here that we should specifically mention how many passes this is.
We can add 12 to it.
Right. And my similar clarification is on the summer playground trips. The $25 is my clarification. I asked an email, but I'm doing again in public. Is that per trip or is that for the summer playground season? So is it one-time fee of 25 or 25 per trip?
One-time fee of 25.
So I think that too should be clear because they make multiple trips.
I agree on that as well.
Okay, you got that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other council discussion on this? Mr. Loya, should we just move an amended ordinance with those two things? All right. Councilman Roman, you moved I move this. Would you like to make a motion to amend the ordinance?
I will make that motion to amend the ordinance pursuant to the councilwoman's comments.
Okay. I will second that amendment. So now we're on the amended ordinance. All right. Any other council discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll on the amended I-2, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
No.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo?
Yes.
Mayor, I-2 passes 4-1. It will be numbered 2025-24. It will be published according to law. Public hearing will be held on December 15th.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance labeled I-3 on first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending the Code of the Township of Verona, Chapter A 565 fees, A 565-7 Verona Community Pool membership and other fees, Section B membership types to establish a non-resident membership category.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody like to move this ordinance? I'll move it. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Roman. Any discussion on this, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, in this one on 11 and 12, we have the adult day passes, and we limit them to 3 per season. I just get the feeling that we're leaving money on the table by not adding more to that, 5 per season, 7 per season. I know we don't want to encourage people to just go for daily passes rather than get a full membership.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, if I can interrupt. Are you on I-3, the non-resident membership?
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 and 12 at the end.
11 and 12. Okay, I'm just.
Yep.
Sorry,
Yeah, we aren't altering it in this ordinance, but it's there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Even 5 per season. I mean,
yeah, I'm sorry. I was just looking at
a couple weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's the added text is supposedly in bold. Which is this correct? I'm not seeing anything bolded in this.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah.
I'll be bolded for codification.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I see the whereas paragraphs that have the municipalities with, referencing.
There's
it.
number 7 is the addition.
Okay, there it is.
Section
You're right.
1,
Yeah,
7.
non-resident. Okay, that's just not bold.
Oh, just for clarification, there was 2 additional changes. In the family and parent guardian section, the child age out was increased from 24 to 26, and disabled adult dependents were added as well.
Okay, thank you. So your question, Deputy Mayor, I'm sorry for interrupting.
On 11 and 12, it has limit 3 per season. I just think I think we're kind of leaving money on the table by not extending that to maybe 5 per season. Because you're going to get people that don't want to get a full membership, but maybe want to go another day or 2 of the year.
This is going back to Mr. Steinman's point from earlier on this exact
Sort of,
issue.
yes. When he brought it up, that's what I was thinking because I had this highlighted.
I'm just going to offer something out there. I think this is one of those things that we can change in the future. So I don't want to hold the ordinance back for discussion on this because we need to set the rates so we can advertise the pool.
Mhm.
But the nice thing about this is because you can only buy day passes as the pool season approaches, maybe we can study this as we go forward, just as a thought, if that works for everybody. Councilman McGrath?
Yes, I wasn't going, at the last meeting, I raised that I think the limitation to just the weekday is limiting, that we should allow these to be sold on the weekend. You're bringing up an alternative idea, raising 3 to 5. I know from looking at the past usage that very few people buy these because what we hear very consistently from the public is these are extraordinarily high and we're actually raising the cost by 2%. So not a lot of people are picking up on this, but I agree with what the mayor just said. I think in the interest of getting these rates finalized so that we can start a payment plan, which the residents asked for, I think, I would be happy to revisit in the future. And I raised those concerns with, but I wanted to raise, I have a concern with how this is titled. And I raised this earlier today to administration. And also that the whereas clauses don't actually match number 7. Because we added that not just the 1.25 mile border, but also that an individual or family referred by a member can join regardless of where they reside. And that's not reflected in the whereas clauses at the top. So can we make some sort of change now and amend it so that we can introduce?
Sure, we could put that whereas clause in the top. You're happy with the language in 7, correct?
Yes, I mean, I think that's reflective of what
It's
the
just,
administration wants
it's just
to do.
the second whereas, because the third whereas is
Yeah.
just saying
we'll have that
what
second whereas
municipality.
mirror.
To mirror what 7 says.
Yeah.
But the additional issue is that we also changed the definition of dependents in the family and caregiver. So are we okay with introduce the title and the whereases? Because we made more than just the addition of the non-resident.
Yes.
The titles.
The title's okay, even though we made other changes to family and caregiver
Well,
that have
the-
nothing to do with residency.
If you want to change the title, you can, but yes, the title of an ordinance doesn't necessarily, we do our best, but it doesn't necessarily give away everything that's in the ordinance. We all have to read the ordinance to see the details. It's supposed to kind of hint to where you're supposed to look.
Could we just add something that says to create a non-resident membership category and advise other categories? Just add that at the top. Okay, then we're not adding too much. Because poor Mrs. Kiernan won't be able to read this during the meeting if we make it any longer. We'll have to have extra credit for staying late. Okay. Any other comments? Just to be clear, we're not saying that this is final for 11 and 12, but it would be helpful for Mrs. Prisco to have a recommendation, Mr. Shore to have a recommendation, and to go through that. Mr. Shore's already made a recommendation, but to talk to Mrs. Prisco about that with Mr. Simon's recommendation. We're just gonna have a lot of talks between now and in the next couple months on that piece. Madam Clerk,
Yes.
you're up.
Councilwoman Holland?
No.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance I-3 will be numbered 2025-25, will be published according to law, and a public hearing will be held on December 15th.
All right, only 6 more to go, folks. The next item on the agenda is ordinance labeled as I-4 on first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
An ordinance to amend Chapter A 565-7 of the Code of the Township of Verona, pool membership fees.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move this ordinance, please?
So moved.
The motion is made by the Deputy Mayor. Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. We're going to have to postpone it to another meeting.
I have to take this out.
Okay. All right, moving on to, well, I'm just going to second it because this is ridiculous. All right, motion second. Any council discussion?
I'll say
Mr. Roman.
I kind of am leaning towards where Mr. Shore is on this one. I think that we have overshot some of the pricing that the public is going to be willing to pay for a luxury good, and I'm concerned about the risk that this may actually be negative in terms of total of gross revenue to the pool. So TBD where I land on this one.
Deputy Mayor?
The reason why I moved it was because I do think we had several years that we did not raise rates here. And I believe it was my second or third year on the council that we started to realize that the entire township of Verona was paying for a lot of what was going on at the pool, such as water, and for the entire town to pay for something that only a small portion of the town utilizes. It is a pool utility, so it should be self-funding. And we didn't realize in the past that that's what councils were doing. And we've spent the last 6 years changing that. And I just think that things are not getting less expensive. We're already running in a deficit. And if we don't raise fees even slightly, it's just like taxes. If you keep them at 0 increase for a couple of years, it's just going to come back and bite you. And you're going to do a 15% increase down the road. And that's exactly what happened in the last 2 years. So I think if we don't put a little bit on here year by year, I think we're just going to be digging ourselves into a hole. And 5 years down the road, they're going to have to do a huge increase, if not close the pool. But I don't think that's ever going to happen in this town. I think we will do what we have to keep the pool open. And I think raising the rates, even just 2%, will help to keep that pool going forward. And if things work out with non-resident memberships and fundraising and local businesses that want to advertise there to get more business, if they work out and things start going up, then we can talk about this time next year lowering membership fees. But until then, I think we have to at least be consistent and have some slight increase of these fees.
I'm kind of falling in the same area. I feel like when we have our costs that we know are going up, one of our biggest costs is personnel, right? Personnel and chemicals are 2 really big cost drivers. The cost of chemicals is going up. The cost of personnel is going up. Right now, the out-of-town members are designed to kind of fill in an existing gap, right? And we need to ensure that we're planning ahead. And we're in a situation, just to be clear, that even a 2% increase in the fees does not absorb the increases in the personnel costs that we're going to be seeing. So we have to be very careful I also think that our out of town member option is great, but we don't know if we're going to get enough people signing on to this. We don't know for sure. We certainly won't know if we don't pass an ordinance and advertise the cost of this and start recruiting people. So I think this year especially, we're in that position. 2% is pretty reasonable. It's under the rate of inflation. So our other prices and our consumer price index are generally increasing beyond this. So this is actually one of the lowest increases that people are going to see in prices, other obviously than things that have gone down like gasoline and stuff like that. But I feel like we'd just be repeating the sins of our fathers in some ways by not providing a reasonable increase in order to meet our personnel cost. And that's the only reason I would approve it. And I understand that it's not necessarily popular, but I also, it's my hope that by having an affirmative plan for marketing and having our volunteers come out, that will actually increase that. And by really marketing to new residents and getting information out, by working with the Chamber of Commerce to get stuff in their new resident bags and things like that, that will hopefully increase. But we need to do all of this as part of one big picture. And I think that most residents would feel that a 2% increase, I don't know if that's going to break it for most pool members. And it's, it's under the increase in people's taxes that they're certainly going to see, which is capped. So I think, do I want to do this? I'm the guy that doesn't want to raise any fee, but I think we just kind of have to at this point in order to meet the needs of the pool budget. Anything else? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
No.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
For introduction, yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor, I-4 will be numbered ordinance 2025-26. It will be published according to law, and a public hearing will be held on December 12th. And I just want to mention that the 2025 column won't be in the ordinance for codification purposes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next up on the agenda is ordinance I-5 on first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Fixing the salaries and compensation of the seasonal employees of the Verona Community Pool.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will move this ordinance. Would somebody second it?
Second.
Second's made by Councilwoman McGrath. Any council discussion on this item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
Mayor I-5 will be number 2025-27, will be published according to law, and a public hearing will be held on December 15th.
Okay. Next on the agenda, oops, somehow we.
Oh, sorry.
That's interesting.
Well, I hit the.
That's all right.
I'm running out of space.
I thought it was an amusement park right here. The next item of the agenda is ordinance I-6 on first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending the code of the Township of Verona, Chapter A 565 fees, Chapter A 565-7.1 Verona Community Pool exemption from fees to require the Township's Chief Financial Officer to annually transfer the value of pool memberships that are exempt from fees under this section from the general fund to the pool utility.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll be relinquishing the chair to the deputy mayor for this item, as I need to recuse myself on this item.
Okay. Would anybody like to move this ordinance?
So moved.
Second by, moved by Councilwoman Holland, second by Councilman Roman. Any comments from council? Deputy. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As I have a family member involved in the rescue squad, I will also be recusing myself from this vote. Thank you.
2 out. Any other comments? Councilwoman Holland.
I will just offer that I think that this is a good movement. I appreciate the comments of Mr. Aloya earlier to describe why this is being done. There has been concerns expressed by the Recreation Advisory Committee for a number of years about the free memberships, and that if it is intended to be a policy to incent volunteerism from the township, then that should be funded by the township's general fund. And that's what this is doing. So this is not a penalty or a negative. This is recognizing that there is a benefit to having the volunteers that we do have, but making sure that there is not cross subsidization from the other pool members. So if the township is choosing to endorse this policy of supporting volunteerism, which I think is a very positive thing, then the township should fund that and provide that funding to the utility to make the utility whole. And that is exactly what this ordinance is putting forward. And I thought it was a helpful conversation that Mr. Aloya had earlier in response to some of the public comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments? Just want to let the public know with this, we did a calculation of what the rescue squad and the fire department contributes to the pool and how many members actually attend the pool, and came up with that number, and that's what the fund transfer will be. I think it's very important that when this came up years ago, the idea of doing this, pretty much it was unanimous with the council because of what these members give to the pool members while they're there. Obviously, we're dealing with a place where there's water and concrete and there's accidents that could happen. And I think it's very, very important to have, and it's proven itself many, many times, to have rescue squad and fire department members at the pool and can react to a problem immediately. So I think this is a very good compromise to a question and a topic that we've been talking about for quite some time. So with that, Madam Clerk, can you please call a roll? Up to the left.
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I-6 will be number 2025-28. It passes 3-2. I'm sorry, 3-0 with 2 recusals. It would publish according to law, and a public hearing will be held on December 15th.
Thank you, Madam.
Floor back.
Oh, yes, sorry. Thank you for giving me the floor back. Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda is ordinance I-7 on first reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 501 of the Township Code.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion's made by Councilwoman Holland. Is there a second?
I'll second.
The second is made by Councilman Roman. Is there any council discussion? I just have one item. In the last meeting, I discussed in A3, making the township borough OEM coordinator or deputy coordinator in case the OEM coordinator is not available at the times of these meetings or whatever, or just simply designee, or however you want to write this. It just didn't make it into this revision. All the other towns can have whatever they want. For us, this is just really internal for us.
Mr. Mayor, just to explain it for the public, because the title doesn't really tell the public exactly what this is.
So we have a joint flood control advisory board currently with Cedar Grove. We are expanding the board to Little Falls and Woodland Park in order to maximize our ability to work together as they're all affected by the PECMIN. And it certainly helps us with state and federal funding as well and assistance. And we're also expanding the membership of the committee to include the emergency management coordinator for each township, as was requested by Woodland Park or Little Falls or one of them. The other Councilman Holland?
Yes, I sit on the Joint Flood Advisory Committee meeting and was able to attend the meeting where Little Falls and Woodland Park came forward and requested the expansion and joining our flood advisory board. I think this is a very positive step forward, and I know that the objective is to have this ordinance and companion ordinances passed in advance of the January meeting. So I do think this is a very worthwhile endeavor.
Okay. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, I-7 will be numbered 2025-29, passes 5-0. It'll be published according to law. Public hearing will be held on December 15th. Can I just ask the town attorney, should I add, I'm sorry for the omission, the committee's name to the title?
Sure.
Flood Control Advisory Board. I'll be done. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda is ordinance I-8 on first reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
Amending Chapter 244 filming of the Code of the Township to comply with New Jersey's film ready requirements.
Thank you. Would somebody move the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Deputy Mayor. Madam Clerk, do you want to explain why we are?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to? I would, but he'll probably do it better.
So the township's existing ordinance was sent to the for review for compliance with NJ Film Ready requirements. There were comments that were received requesting the revisions that are noted in the draft ordinance, which would allow the township to become certified as a film ready community. So that the proposed ordinance effectuates the comments from that the township received.
Correct. Upon this adoption, we will be certified to be film ready.
Okay. So, you had mentioned something on the phone about the fees. For fees, do you want to just go into why we had to adjust the fees?
Right. That's in the next. I have the fees.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's in I-9. Okay.
Right. So there's just a little. I think that they're minor in terms of a day, 5 days to 4 days to approve. Extending the hour just by 1 hour for the camera wrap, another hour for the crew wrap. And the public safety will be determined by the police department for the requester to be able to provide proper personnel for traffic control at the site if needed.
Deputy Mayor?
I got a question about D and 244-4, basically the hours of filming.
Right.
Is there a reason, do we have to change them to adhere to what they?
If we want to be, these were the, yes, to receive certification. These were their changes. They weren't requests. They were.
They're not recommended hours. They're required.
No, they're
basically
standard
required.
hours. And the
Because
days
these are-
too, from Monday to Friday through Sunday.
My only question with this is, it would be nice if we could have them to conform with our construction hours, Monday through Saturday, 7 to 7, and to have these on Sunday. I mean, we're talking residential. A residential home could be.
I understand they wanted to go to midnight originally.
And even extending from 9 to 10 for camera wrap to crew wrap, I would think that would be a very busy and loud hour. And if that's going to happen on a Sunday evening or a Saturday evening, I know we don't have many filming. We can revisit this later on or next year if things don't happen. But if this is passed now, we start to have a problem with it, we can rescind it next year or whenever we want.
Yeah. Okay. It's up to the council, but it's required just for the certification.
Okay.
Okay. So, but
The Sunday piece included.
Yes.
Must be nice to be able to put these demands on municipalities.
we don't have
Councilman
to.
Roman?
Councilwoman McGrath was first.
Go ahead, Councilman McGrath.
Thank you. We have a process by which all ordinances need to go into new business first. Can the administration address why we're not following our process?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. The certification would be to be certified be in the beginning of January instead of having to wait for the next window. It's not my understanding is that it's not an ongoing process.
It's not.
It's just a window every 6 months. So, which could lead us till June if you want.
So I'm a big supporter of film in New Jersey. In fact, this is something I went to the league many years ago, and I went to a seminar on it, and I was really inspired to, while these, listen, the film industry, they want a lot of concessions, which are being made in here. It's unfortunate we don't have a chance to talk about this properly. I mean, I won't, well, again, like it would have been better if we had more notice on these changes. That's my objection.
I understand we didn't get the changes back until earlier in last week. So,
and I think this is, I'll just end with this and refer back to Councilman Roman, but this is a good example where a memo to us explaining all this would have been great instead of just throwing this in our packet with no explanation. Thank you.
Councilman Roman?
I just don't think that this is something that we're, clamoring for in order to kind of just give, carte blanche to all these requests. I mean, again, filming is great when it happens, but if you give an inch, they take a mile. It's like, do we really want this on Sunday? Do we really want this late at night? Over a couple of, we get a couple $100 fees. People that lease their properties out for it will get, larger location fees, obviously. But I just don't feel like there's so much public interest benefit here that we absolutely have to do this right now. It's like, we can talk about it, but we can say no to some of the things that they want on there. And, someone tell me why it's very important to the Township of Verona that we be certified as film ready. So.
Councilwoman McGrath?
There is a big economic benefit because if we're film ready, the piece of that is a support of our small businesses, and not just restaurants, but also services. They actually have a directory of services for films. And so this is an economic driver. If you pair this ordinance and being film ready with them also making sure that our small business community is tied into the filming process, I think that there's a way for when they get permits, they get a list of preferred small business vendors that are based in Verona. So it is looked at as an economic activity. But with that said, they're very demanding. And of course, they want to film all the time and they film overnight. And I will say that people look back on the days when Sopranos was filming all around town as a highlight. They really got a kick out of it. People were extras. People love the fact that Adam Sandler filmed in Verona, and even some other movies and commercials. So I appreciate the administration trying to make this into an economic development activity. I just wish we had a little bit more time to think about it.
Councilwoman Holland?
I would agree that the film ready status does provide an economic development opportunity for our community, and it should be leveraged. For example, all productions have craft services, and we do have a number of amazing restaurants in our community that could be the craft services vendor for that production. I will echo some of the statements about not having adequate time to review this ordinance and not having the materials to back it up. I certainly have some questions about the hours put forward. There's limited nighttime opportunities there. I recognize that some of that's to not disrupt our residents, but perhaps it could have been crafted in a way where, we were outside of residential zones, because you do a lot of filming in the evening. And so that could be limiting. But I also just want to point out that if we aren't moving forward with this, our neighboring communities are, and then they will get those economic benefits instead of Verona. So this is an opportunity for us to support our small businesses and our community from an economic development standpoint. And just as a point of clarity, we would have the opportunity to amend this at a later time if we wanted to clarify it. Is that correct? We're not locked in. There was something about a 6-month period.
I want to check with that.
Okay.
If you don't mind. So if you want to.
Well, no, I'm fine with introduction.
If you're
but
not
we could
fine
get
with
that.
Hours, and that would that would be significant changes, right?
You can certainly always amend your ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to throw in here, I think the film ready piece is nice. At the same point, it's not necessarily required in order to allow filming in our town. It puts us on a priority list. So I don't want people to think that we can't have any film production in Verona if we're not on this list. So just something to think about as well. And I think it is worth further discussion at this point. So I would be comfortable with tabling this until we can get some more information and really have a more substantive discussion on whether we do want to do, as the deputy mayor pointed out, make an exception for this that we don't otherwise make an exception for in our nuisance ordinances. Or could we put this in but limit, if we can find out, can we allow this filming piece but limit, like on that Sunday? It doesn't say anywhere in the New Jersey Motion Picture Television Commission guidelines for film ready that it says you have to have the conduct shall include no less and no greater than language added when applied to noise restrictions, hours of filming, or other than 7 to 9 camera wrap and crew wrap at 10 o'clock for projects with exterior filming or greater intrusion. Just wondering if we could internally limit that to particular areas. If the high school or whatever renting out the facility, the school board does this a lot, somewhere that's a little bit more controlled and not as residential, if we could allow that and not others. So I just have questions that I'm not sure. I feel like we can move forward on this right now. We can, I understand the timeline, but at the same point, I think we need to do what's right for the town first and really understand, can we include in our ordinance things where we allow that language, but we modify that to be in certain areas. So we're still meeting the language to be film ready, but we're also meeting the needs of the community at the same time. If somebody wanted to film at the pool, that might be an interesting concept, or in a public building or inside the library where they're not making as much noise. So if we can look at that and maybe get some information on if we can put in some restrictions. So I'm going to move to table this at this point until we can find out a little bit more about if we can modify this language put forth by the Motion Picture and Television Commission. And just with the caveat, this doesn't mean we can't accept people coming in to film. It just means we're not on this priority list until we do that. But so I move to table. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
The second is made by Councilman Roman. This is a
stop Adam Sandler.
Yeah, it's a non-debatable motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. So 4 yes, 1 no, the motion carries. And the motion is tabled. So I think we can put this into new business at the next meeting. And if anybody has any specific questions about this, if we can get them to the administration before then.
Yeah, so and then I'll follow up with the commission before, and then we'll have ample time to.
Yeah.
So if they get me by the end of the week, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think the attitude is we want to do this, but we also, obviously need to do what's right for the town. We don't want filming at 10 o'clock on, they were using Brookside Terrace for a while, and that was not, the residents would love that, especially when we're detouring down like Westland Road. We don't want to be doing that at 10 o'clock at night. So
if everybody can just, the sooner the better with your comments, so I know exactly what to go back to the commission with to make sure, and then we can move forward. I'd appreciate it.
Great, thank you. The next item of the agenda is I-9.
What?
Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this into the record?
Amending the Code of the Township of Verona, Chapter 8565-1, Schedule of Fees for Filming Fees.
Somebody like to move this ordinance?
Should we table this since we're tabled the last one?
Would you like to move to table this?
I would say yes. This would go in conjunction with the last table. So yes.
Okay, the deputy mayor moves to table this. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second made by Councilman Roman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. And I-9 is tabled. Okay. All right. Well, we are done with ordinances for the time being. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Before we move the consent agenda, being that there are so many things on it, does anybody need to pull anything from the consent agenda?
Mayor, may I just say that we need to remove item L3, right? L6. Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Okay.
Okay, L6 from the agenda entirely. Yes, I'm sorry. What are we doing?
And Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes, can we pull L24 for separate conversation?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
L24.
L24.
Okay. Somebody like to move resolutions L1 through L5, L7 through L23, and L25 and 26.
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is made by Councilwoman Holland. At this time, I will open for public comment on all proposed resolutions, including the ones that have been pulled. So we don't have to open for public comment again on those. Same public comment statement applies, just these items on the consent agenda. Nobody wants to discuss any one of these 26 things. Mr. Shore.
I'm going to tie the rules into some of the fee discussion that was just
You're talking about L14?
Yes. So just some of the rules are affected by the lovely discussion on the membership fees that you just had. My comment is that volume cures all. Just because you have a 2% increase doesn't mean you actually can make money on it. A lot of times that I have product on the shelf, we always have a debate about whether I'm going to do a price increase, not a price increase. But if I do a price increase, then that actually decreases the amount of volume and actually increases my costs in other places. So the 2%, the reason for not to have it is because think about the membership. Just had 15% increase last year. 8% they were down in membership. Now the non-resident membership fee comes in. That scares people a little bit. If you talk to members, they don't really want it, but we need it because of revenue purposes. So it's a good idea to give them an incentive in the marketplace, which means do not increase their fees, have good service, have a marketing committee to try to bring in new members. Doesn't mean that you're doing it 3, 4, 5 times in a row. It just means for this time only, you are not going to do an increase because the residents who have supported for so many years, you want to bring them back to the fold, and you want to bring new members into the fold as well. So just remember, just because you do a 2% increase doesn't mean that you're actually going to increase your revenue or you're going to have a better profit margin. Please take that into consideration. I would honestly, this year, don't do a price increase. Save it for next year. Save it for the year after that when things are stabilized. You'll see what the non-resident does. You'll see what marketing happens. You'll see if you actually get sponsorships and that increases. Put it all on the table. Let the residents not have a price increase because I think they've had enough over the last 2 years. No blame. It's just economics 101. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Shore. Any other public comment? Any council discussions on the moved items? I'm sorry, I have to close public comment if I didn't do that. Any council discussion on the moved items? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please, on L1 through L5, L7 through L23, and L25 and 26?
Councilwoman Holland.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath.
Yes.
Councilman Roman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, L1 through 5 and 7 through 23 and 25 through and 26 will be numbered. There we go. 56 through 60, 61 through 77, 78, 79.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we're going to resolution L24. Would somebody like to move L24? I'll move L24. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. Yep, he's in this ear. Council discussion. Councilman McGrath.
Yes, I'm looking just to make a simple amendment to this resolution. After we reference the bill S-4736, can we just clarify that as introduced on October 27th, 2025, bills have a way of changing, and right now we're in lame duck and things move really quickly. I just want it memorialized in this ordinance that we are objecting to the bill as it was introduced, because we don't know what the future may hold with this bill, how it may be revised down the line. And so just for prosperity, not prosperity, just to immortalize it in the future so that, like in the whereas, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth from the bottom, whereas this proposal S-4736 as introduced on October 27, 2025 is particularly egregious, blah, blah, blah.
Is there any objection to it? No. Okay.
We do attach.
Should I make a motion to amend this ordinance?
Or
do the original?
Whoever made the original motion, was that me?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move to amend L24 to include that proviso with the date of that draft. Mr. Roman, do you second that?
I will reiterate my second on your motion.
I just have one comment on the revision on just the ordinance. I think this is another example of the state of New Jersey legislature trying to exceed its authority and really put municipalities in a difficult position and really going around our zoning codes and ordinances. I think this is a very dangerous bill, and I'm glad that we are standing up, and I look forward to hearing from LD40 representatives after sending them this resolution. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath?
Yes.
Councilman Roman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro?
Yes.
L24 as amended passes 5-0. It will be numbered 2025-280.
Just one comment. I'm very happy I didn't make it before that we passed L25 supporting Revolution NJ. I know our public information officer's already been looking into some events to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And as the revolutionary American historian in the room, I'm really excited about this. This is my year for sure. And I look forward to participating in this. And I thank Elisa for her work on that. We are moving into new business. Mr. O'Sullivan, you had a walk-on resolution that you'd like to put forth?
Yes, Mayor. It was a companion resolution to L3, which transferred the rights and obligations under the financial agreement dated April 25th, 2017 between the Township of Verona and DNR Verona Urban Renewal. There's a companion resolution which authorizes the transfer of that certain financial agreement between the Township of Verona and DNR Verona Urban Renewal LLC to Bloomfield 151 Urban Renewal LLC, and authorizing the acknowledgement of an assignment assumption agreement in connection therewith. The council was provided a copy of that resolution, the supporting documentation prior to the council meeting. It is just a companion resolution. It's been reviewed by General Counsel and Special Counsel on redevelopment, and was drafted and recommended by the Special Counsel.
If anybody really is looking for something interesting to look at, all of these flow charts are really fascinating as far as who has an interest in this property. Somebody had a really great time on PowerPoint on that. Would somebody move the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion is made by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
Second it.
Second made by Councilman Roman. We've had our public comment on this particular piece. Any council discussion? Hearing none, this is a pro forma item. We are convinced.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, on the pro forma item, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
All right. Thank you.
This
The
will be
next-
number 2025-281.
281. All right. And then we just had the new business item on appointments. I was going to ask the council to make any last contacts to any candidates for boards and committees, so we can discuss these items in executive session on the 15th meeting.
I will be sending just a couple additional applicants.
Okay. If
But I think I'll just resend everything all together so nobody's confused.
can we put everything in one folder?
On Google
okay,
Drive?
on Google Drive.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I'll also add.
You have your lists, and then who's
Yep.
in where. Councilman McGrath?
Yes, I just want to make sure, because there were some emails going back and forth. So we also have a student or two to appoint to MIAC. No? No? Yes.
Well, it's,
we can figure it out.
I
We
just
just have
sent
a
you an
student
email.
waiting to be appointed to MIAC, and we would love to add it to the list.
It's okay. I thought we
Okay.
didn't appoint students.
I sent you an email on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I think
you
we
can
do
appoint it.
appoint
There's two students.
We did in the past.
Okay.
I think we voted on them.
They're
so-
optional.
Right, and they're for the
within their
school year,
term or until they graduate.
for the
or
academic
service.
year.
That's fine. That
I'll
hadn't crossed,
indicate that on the
Yeah.
on the roster.
that hadn't crossed my desk, but we can certainly do that. And we'll discuss that during that time. Madam Clerk, could you shrink the screen a little bit so we can open for one last public comment?
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm
Yes,
sorry. You know what? I'll defer to Councilwoman Holland.
Councilman Holland.
I had an item for new business. I
Sure.
don't know if okay. I know that there was an email sent earlier last month about the reorganization meeting, and I didn't hear any discussion of that at the last meeting, and I think it would be worthwhile for us to have a discussion about the timing of that reorganization meeting, as three of us were just recently reelected, and January is just around the corner.
So, Mr. Loy, the meeting has to happen between the 15th of January and the 22nd of January.
That's correct.
That's correct. We have a council meeting scheduled for the 19th of January.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I believe that
we have the
was
5th on our annual meeting notice.
Okay.
And the 19th, I think, would be the suggested.
We had
Did
done
you-
the calendar.
to
You
go
sent us the
ahead?
calendar of meetings.
Oh,
Did we?
I didn't give out that yet.
I thought you sent us.
I thought you sent something also.
Yeah, I think we
Maybe just
we
a conversation
definitely
we had.
saw that. I saw something.
I think I just sent
Like
an
all the
email about
entire
the
council looked at all of the
For the year?
for
2026?
26. Yeah,
I don't think
I
I,
don't
sent
recall
it.
it was
because
like
I-
it was like a handwritten calendar.
I think that
With
was for
like-
the balance of this year.
yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember.
Because
we
I-
just scheduled out.
we
the-
had
haven't
not-
sent it-
I thought we only went through like a January 5th kind of
Yeah.
reorg meeting before we
Yeah.
got this
Maybe
email.
I'm thinking of last year's and
We
we
have-
just got to merge
I
it
think
together.
the 6 months
Yeah.
that we had to add on with the from July
That's right.
forward
Yeah.
might be. I'm sending it. I just was waiting for this meeting so we didn't overwhelm you with documents.
Okay. So we have no meeting scheduled for next year.
So
We have the 5th. We have
we
January
have the 5th, which
We have to cancel.
no,
No, the same council meets.
Brian, town attorney and I had discussed it, and I was supposed to send an email that I was difficult drafting. But the 5th could be appointments of boards and committees if they needed the time.
Well,
you
I mean,
might
the
also
5th
have some finance resolutions that might have
And then
to
the,
be passed.
then, then
Yeah,
the
I mean-
following meeting would be the reorg meeting.
So just for the public's sake, the current council, which is going to be the same council as the next council, our terms don't expire until at least January 15th.
Correct.
So the next meeting is still this legislative cycle. So we should absolutely hold on to the 5th and conduct business because, I mean, we can anyway. Even if we had a brand new council, we should still conduct the business of the town.
But the reorg would be all the financial documents. There's not going to be much in terms of resolutions because of the finance documentation.
We can
that
go
needs to
through
be
the
documented.
resolutions.
I mean, the
But
only
the boards,
it's Martin Luther King Day that day, but the municipal offices are open traditionally
oh, I was talking about the 5th
on the 19th.
or the 19th. Yes.
So the only other option would be to have a meeting somewhere between the the 15th, which is the previous Thursday, and the 22nd, which is the next Thursday. Did not have it on the day, but traditionally we have had meetings that night.
My preference would be for the 19th if we're able to do that.
I mean, that's,
I
I
think
think
that
just to
works
keep
with the
our
other
general first and third tradition, that would be it. So if I have an objection to that, no, speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. All right. That is what we will do. So organization will be on the 19th at 7 p.m.
And
we were going to need something, or an ordinance or resolution to set that, right?
We'll do it.
And we're going to have to do it
at the 15th.
At the 15th meeting, December 15th meeting.
Well, or I don't. Do we need an ordinance, Brian, or
You don't need an ordinance. You could just
to publish
just
the
to
meeting?
publish the meeting. Yeah.
You will do the. I'm sorry. At the 5th, or not earlier, we could do the 2020.
Why don't we try to do
set
it next meeting on December 15th, so we can get this out to the public on all of them. So maybe you could, or at least
all the meetings for the
all the
year?
meetings for the year. Yeah.
I have them to send. I'll send them.
Okay. All right. If you can send them out, and then because I know we have a couple of hairy times with elections and school holidays and all of that stuff. All right. Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Holland. Any other new business? Okay. We have previously made a motion to go into executive session. Will any official action be taken, Mr. O'Sullivan, Mr. O'Loy?
No.
No. All right. We'll see everybody here on the.
You have to have one more.
Oh, sorry. One more public comment session. All right. I will now open for public comment on any item anybody wishes to discuss. Mr. Shore.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Just clarification. The reorg. So what happens with committee meetings, or what happens with the committee? Are we doing reorg after January 19th? Because we have to let our membership know that might think, hey, January 1, we're done, or December 31st. So reorganizations would have to occur probably after the 19th, and then basically after the council makes. I just need a clarification on where that's going. So thank you.
Just I can't answer till your comments over. So anybody else? Any items? Close public comment. I had this conversation with Mr. Aloya previously. We are able to appoint for boards and committees for next year, either at the next meeting, if we come out of executive session and want to do that, take official action, or on the 5th. We don't have anybody who meets before the 5th. It would be nice if we could do it for most of the committees, at least at the next meeting, so we can give people notice. But unfortunately, with this law that has changed, in the future, it will be the outgoing council that is likely going to be making board and committee appointments for the next years, or leaving those open, which is the problem, because we have a lot of boards and committees that that do meet, earlier in the month. So unfortunately, we don't have any control. It's another thing the state did, and not really sure why. I haven't gotten a straight answer on why the state did that. Councilman McGrath?
Mayor, maybe we can ask our LD40 team to see if they can change the law.
Yeah.
Like, it is really bizarre.
Well, it was just put in 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so
not
I
even.
think this is one of those things that people are like, oh yeah, let's do that. It's my guess. I don't want to venture a guess as far as why this was passed, but I have a feeling it was probably to accommodate the schedules of a couple legislators. And that's the only reason, because it makes absolutely no sense to me, this whole thing. But
maybe we can advocate and through the League of Municipalities with other nonpartisan governments, some of whom are quite large and maybe would sign on.
So, our terms just keep getting longer and longer. We have had the longest council terms in the history of Verona. They were 2.5 years, and now they're 2.5 years and 15 days or 19 days or whatever they are. And we don't know really when they end until the council establishes the reorganization for the next council, which makes no sense. But this is the state of New Jersey. We're under construction. On that note, goodbye, everyone. You're the lucky ones. Have a nice day. You get to leave. we are going to stay and talk about affordable housing.